the first thing, do you have Eclipse IDE installed in your machines? If you don't, all you have to do is just type Eclipse Java IDE. And do you see this? It says download links for whatever operating system that you have. Just go to that link, download the package, whatever, if it's a zip file, exe file, setup file, whatever it is, just know the installation steps, right? Just keep installing, and then once you're done with the program, you'll see an icon something like this. Okay, again, you have different versions for Eclipse. You have Eclipse IDE, you have Eclipse SE, right? So it doesn't matter what you download, but if you see Eclipse IDE, download that. Even if you don't see Eclipse IDE, that's fine. But specifically, download Eclipse IDE version IDE. I'll tell you what IDE and SE and all those things are in a minute. But yeah, let me first finish the installation part. So you download this thing, install it. Again, I have an entire slide regarding Eclipse installation and all those things. So don't worry about that. I'll send the PPT right away with all the materials at the end of this class. Anyways, you can figure it out, but still, if you need much more help, then those PPT will definitely help you. So yeah, once you download the Eclipse, let me just close this down. So you see this icon, there's nothing but the Eclipse. Just click on it and so this is the first window that will pop up if you're using it for the first time. This is nothing but workspace, as in it's asking you to provide the path where you want to do all the Eclipse related work. Right? Just like your workspace in your home, like where you want to see all your office stuff and all those things. Again, you can click browse and you can put any folder that you want. But so just like that, effects and then Java Marchwell. So this is my way of doing it. Again, this workspace is actually local, right? The workspace is on my system. Usually, if you're working, then the workspace might be a network. So multiple users can also share the workspace. But yeah, as of now, this is just local file system. So everything is only accessible by me, right? So set your workspace, click OK, and then this will start up. Okay, so this is the home screen of Eclipse. Get used to this screen for a while, because you'll probably be using this for all sessions here. I think Eclipse IDE. The reason we are using Eclipse IDE is you have a couple of other IDEs which are actually used a lot. Definitely, you have just Eclipse, and then you have the IDEA developed by IntelliJ, which actually has a beautiful interface. But then, yeah, most of them use NetBeans or Eclipse, and Eclipse is quite popular. So yeah, let's just stick with Eclipse. It's fine, whatever you work with. So if you're opening Eclipse for the first time right away after installation, then you just see a welcome page here, like welcome to Eclipse, and it has all those tutorial kind of steps. Just skip that part, or just close down. You'll have a close button somewhere. Just close it down, and then it will take you to this thing, right? So now, first thing, let me show you how to actually create a project. Right, you go in File, click on New, and then click on Java Project. Okay. Give any name, sample project. Okay. Now, what is this? Let's just see briefly about this window. Use an execution environment, JRE. Again, you can have different versions, 1.8, 1.7, 1.6. Again, use the latest one. On my machine is 1.8. Let's just stick with that. Why do we have different versions? What's the point if you have the latest one? Sometimes what happens is something that is supported in 1.7 will not be supported by 1.8, or you know those dependency issues, right? But in that case, if the project is really old and you don't want to mess up issues, and you just probably prefer the older versions, that's fine. But since we are developing things right now, so just stick to the latest one, that is 1.8. Okay, and then we can also use a specific runtime system. I have only one installed on it. If you have again 1.7, 1.6, 3 or 4 multiple JDKs installed on your system, then you can choose either of those. But I have only installed 1.8, so I just have this one specific JRE. Again, you can also configure just adding and removing all those JREs. If you have all those JREs, you can basically add all those JREs, right? If someone is asking you that this project requires JRE 1.6, you download JRE 1.6 using this thing, add button, you get that JRE 1.6 into this location, and then you use it. Basically, that's how it works. So yeah, again, create separate folders, but don't change anything here. Okay, it might look like I've changed anything, but no, don't change anything. Just write the name of the project. And this thing is, again, we know, right? Because we have done programs using command prompt. So every Java program has how many files? If it has a single class, one source code file and one class file, right? So you have, for each project, you'll have .java files, you'll have .class files. Once you compile those .java files, you'll have .class files. Basically, you're saying that I want all the source files to be stored in one place and all the class files to be stored in one place. That is it. And then just hit next. And then see, all the source files, your Java files will be stored in this source, and all the class files will be stored in a folder called bin increment binary, right? All the bytecode, all the class files. Again, bytecode, class files is all means the same. Not class files basically. Once you compile a source code, Java file, then you get a class file out of it. So that is what it is. So basically, you're telling all the output files, all the class files that are generated, let's store them in the bin folder. Finish. Right. So here we got the project expanded. You see source and JRE system library. This is basically, I've told you, right, in order for the program to run, we need JRE, right? It has all the libraries and all the files that we need when the program is running. That's why every project by default has JRE included in it, right? So don't mess with that. And now, what happens? You have a project, and then you need a package, right? You just don't directly start writing programs in this. I mean, you can, but for the Hello World program, did we use any project, or was there any package there? No, right? But the whole idea of using an IDE is you have to just stick to its convention, so that then everyone's working on the same platform, right? So that's the idea. So in the project, on source, right click, and then click new, and then hit package. Okay, so inside package, you'll have all the class files. If you have 10 Java files or 20 Java files, so those all reside in a particular package. Okay, so for example, how do we name the package? Do we name it anything? You can, but there's actually a naming convention also for a package. How do you write a package? It actually uses a reverse domain format, right? What's the domain? Like, for example, if you're writing a project for Apple, you're developing a project, then what the domain of the website is www.apple.com, right? So that, what does that mean basically? Apple.com. What is com in there in the website? Commercial, right? So it's a commercial website, and you have .edu, that's educational. You have .org and all those domains. Exactly, just like that. So here you have to follow the reverse order. For example, right now we are writing it for a commercial purpose or for education purpose. This project for educational purposes, right? So you can just start with edu. Again, guys, this is not Java syntax, or if you don't write this, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but it's just a convention. It's just the way that all the developers have agreed that let's do it in this way, right? So again, don't get confused. So the way it follows is from the generic scope to more specific. So the first thing what we're saying is you're writing a program somewhere in educational thing. It's not a commercial purpose. Educational purpose. Edu dot and what you have different consultancies, right? So what is this thing? What NMK or Apex? Let's just put that, right? Right? Do you see we are specifying it down in educational towards a specific company, and then what you can do? Anything. If you're writing Java program, in effect, it would be QA, Advanced Java, and Java. But what are we writing for? It's about Java. Again, this is not definitely required, but this is how it is. Okay, this is how the packages are written from reverse domain format, from the most generic thing to most specific. Once you start working in industry, you'll mostly have what commercial form dot Google dot something, a form dot Facebook dot something, right? If you downloaded some packages online, you can actually see those formats. That is how it works. So edu Apex Java, just hit on finish. You've got the package. What I said, inside the packages, you'll have source files or class files. So right click, and then again click new, and then do you see class? You just hit on class. It says source folder, in which folder you're creating. Again, project name is sample project, and inside, because this is a source file, you have source folder there. Package, fine, and then you have to give a name of the class. Let's just get sample program, right? That's fine. Sample program. Again, what is the naming convention? You have to use camel case. Right, again, you have different modifiers here: public, package, private, protected, abstract, file, static. We'll learn each and every one of these things in the later classes. You'll actually be familiar with all the 6 specifiers. But as of now, let's skip this thing because you have to have a little bit more knowledge of what class and object is. So then you can understand what final, static, abstract, and all those things are. Anyway, at this point, let's just use public because we're not, our programs are not shy as of now. Let's just expose them to the world, so let's just put them public. Right? Once things start getting serious, then we can make it, more sensitive by adding different specifiers. But as of now, it's fine. Let's just put it public. And yeah, that's fine. Don't change anything. And do you see this here? Which method steps would you like to create? See, every class should have a main function method, right? Because until this point, my main method is the only entry point into your project or into your program, right? Control flow or the Java, whatever you're passing the class file, right? You're writing Java space demo. So that Java has to enter into that class file. So main is that entry point. So there's no class without main until this point. Okay. So you click on that. Basically, what it says is it will directly give you this main method if you just click on it instead of writing, because anyhow main method is going to be there. You might as well just put it in default. Okay, and then just click finish. This is how it works: package, public class, sample program, and main method. So this is actually called as boilerplate code. You'll hear this term a lot. Boilerplate code. What do you mean by boilerplate code? The part of code that is being generated default because it's used in most of the programs. So it's called as boilerplate code. If you want to Google, you can just type this boilerplate code if I'm not wrong. Yeah, boilerplate code. So let's just print simple thing. Slow. Right, this was our program that we did in the Eclipse file, right? So back in last class, what we did there, we compiled it and then we run it. But this is the advantage of IDE. You don't have to do those things. IDE takes care of it. All you have to do is, do you see this green play button there? Right? You just have to click that button, so it will do 2 operations. It will compile it as well as it will run it if there's an error. And where do you see the output? Do you see this console? This is nothing but imagine it as the black screen that we use to run the program. So this is what your console is. Again, you can increase and decrease the size, but it's fine. So yeah, this is the console. So here you'll see the output, errors, and all those stuff. This will be your go-to screen once you start running your program. Okay, so let's just run this program. Click always save resources before launching. Otherwise, just keeps annoying you. It just comes up every time. Anyways, click on that and hit OK. Yeah, there you go. You see the output, right? Hello world. That was it. Now, let me tell you a few more things about this IDE. Do you see this thing here? It's Java, right? This is actually called as perspective. Again, you have a lot of perspectives there. Let me click on that. It's not working. So do you see this all this perspective? So basically, what technology on your right are you doing projects on? You just basically click that. What happens is once you have XML put on there, then you'll have suggestions and all those customized to XML. So you'll get suggestions based on XML and all those things. If you have Java, then the suggestions and all those things would be according to Java. So again, it doesn't matter. Just let it be Java. Java E doesn't matter. So let's just put it back to Java or Java E doesn't matter. Anyways, I wanted to tell you what Java SE and Java E and all those things are, right? So again, these are three flavors of Java or three versions of Java, as you can say. Java SE, Java EE, and Java ME. It's nothing but you see those things, right? J2 SE and J2 EE. Have you heard of those terms? Those are nothing but these things: Java SE, EE, and ME. So what are these things? SE stands for Software Edition, EE stands for Enterprise Edition, and then ME stands for Micro Edition. So Software Edition is nothing but just the basic things, which we also called as what? Core Java. So what we are actually learning now is nothing but Java SE, right? Java Software Edition. So the basic things that you have to know in order to get started. What is Enterprise Edition? As the name itself suggests, it's something fancy in there, right? Enterprise Edition. So this is actually, it has a lot of frameworks and all those, fancy things that are involved in there, things that you can do complex, make the Java program do complex functions and all those things. So that is nothing but Enterprise Edition, which, enterprises actually use to manage their applications, right? So this is also called as what? Advanced Java. If you're signed up here for Java developers, then you'll probably go through advanced Java training also by Professor. Anyway, so that is nothing but advanced Java, which have all the different frameworks. Now, what is Java ME, which is not quite used these days? Micro Edition, you can just figure out through the name, Micro Edition. It was initially used for mobile phones, right? Smaller appliances, not for the desktop, because hardware processing power of a desktop is completely different from a phone. I mean, not today, but then back in a decade earlier or something, right? Phone hardware was not that much sophisticated that 7 or 8 years back. So they actually used Micro Edition specifically for smaller appliances like mobile. I think actually Android is somehow related to ME, but then they're actually shifting the base. Anyways, Android works on top of Java, right? So if you actually really understand Java, then you can to some extent say you also know Android, because it's just a little more things that you have to know, like classes and files and boom, you can actually start away writing simple note saving and all those kind of apps. Again, it's a different issue, but yeah, Android is also based on Java. But so do you understand three things: Java SE, ME, EE, and ME? So right now we're just dealing with Software Standard Edition or Software Edition, whatever it is. So that was the whole point, Java SE. If you want just the basic core Java stuff to be involved, then you just put the perspective of Java SE as a standard or Software Edition. Or if you're doing complex things like Java Beans, and you want to include all the servlets and all those kind of things, put the perspective as Java EE. Right. So that was the about perspective. And let me show one more thing. Yeah. Do you see this package explorer? This is where all your projects and all your class files will be listed. Okay. Again, there's no real use of this part as of now, but later on. So yeah, as of now, we don't really use this thing. I mean, we just use this part of Eclipse to just create new files, new packages, that's it. But once we write a Java program, see right now our Java program only communicates with this console. So yeah, again, for the layer classes, once you write programs for databases and all those things, we have to add, additional jars, Java type files, additional Java projects. So in that case, you'll see this is a JRE system library, right? So in same cases, you'll have external libraries which also you want to use in your project. You'll have many such libraries. So those libraries, you'll add it from this thing, Package Explorer. So it basically gives, this is an Eclipse view of how your project looks like. This is the main folder sample project, right? Inside sample project, you have a source folder where you have all programs listed, all the Java files. There is not a bin folder here because there's no use of that for you here, right? Bin is stored, but it's not listed here. So you have source, and then you have the package inside the package. So inside under source, you can have any number of packages, and in each package, you can have any number of programs. So how do you group all those programs under one package? It's quite obvious. All the programs that are related to one thing come under one package, right? For example, this package means that just by looking at the package name, you can tell what files might have been there in the package, right? So you can just tell, okay, this package has programs used for learning, for Apex controls, specifically for Java. If the package name was what, UFX QA, then you could have make it out, right? So yeah, that's the whole point. So again, this is a Package Explorer view, and then you also have navigational view. Show somewhere here. Anyways, yeah, there's also a navigational view in the window. That view, if this is confusing for you, that navigation view will actually give you this Windows kind of format, just simple folders. It won't show you all the packages and all those things. Just like our file system, the Windows file system, right? One folder, you have all the folders, just like that. If this is confusing for you, you can switch to that navigation window. Again, you don't do that. Get habituated to this thing because this is how it actually looks. Right, so we're done with this thing, and do you see this outline? Again, this outline basically gives you the outline structure of all the entire project, right? So as of now, what it's saying is inside package, there is one class called sample program, and inside that one class, there is only one function, right? So what happens is control will directly take, once I click on that main function, it will directly take me to the main method. Imagine this is silly right now, but you don't even, you won't necessarily have one method in one class in real time, right? You'll have hundreds of methods in hundreds of classes, right? There's no point in going through each class, each method, and keep looking for the method you want. That's just not smart, right? So the whole advantage of an IDE, you have to use it. So in this outline window, you'll have all the classes listed in this, and then you can just basically go and click on that particular class. And then once you click on the class, all the methods will be listed under that. And then you can just click whatever method is it, 71st method or whatever is it. Just click on that method, and your control will automatically direct there. Something like this. It will just highlight that particular method. So it's just shortcut kind of thing, that outline thing. Again, this is your console, and don't you really use all those things. And what else would we talk about in this thing? Yeah, one most important thing about any IDE is what? Shortcuts. You have to know at least 20 shortcuts. I think Pratap actually said that in the first class, right? Yeah. Because he says that in every class. You at least have to know 20 shortcuts. Why is that? Why is it so important? Save time, as well as someone watches you over, copying, dragging this thing, and then, putting it that thing. That's just not elegant way of doing it, right? There are literally shortcuts for everything in the IDE. So again, to be honest, I only remember a few. and I'll let you know all those. But again, please go online and check at least 20 different shortcuts you have to know. And we all know what Control A, Control C, Control V do. Those three things remain constant everywhere. Same thing in the Eclipse IDE. Other than that, I'll tell you how commenting is done here. See, if you have some part of comment, for example, this is just one line. If you have got 10 lines or something, select all those lines and just press Control and /. That's it. So even if you have 20 or 30 lines, in just one step you can comment all the part. And then if you want to uncomment it, same thing. Press Enter. Press Control +/. Again, all the shortcuts that I'm saying is right now for the Windows, and for the Mac, most of them the shortcuts stay the same except for replace all the control with command. You guys have command button, right, for the Mac? Yeah. So yeah, this, when I say Control /, most likely it should be command +/. That's it, right? So yeah, command / will give you this thing, and or sure. Wow. So again, I don't know, somehow decrease the size of the font, but again, this is also a good use case scenario. Again, we usually keep demoing programs from this class in the Eclipse IDE, so most of the time goes in setting up the font size. So I'll let you know how to increase the font size, because I think the default size is this thing. The size earlier it was that I set it, it's not by default. So I'll just show you how to actually change the font size in Eclipse IDE, okay? These are all guesses. I think window appearance, no, wrong thing. Preferences, general appearance, colors and fonts. And then we have to change, you're following, right? See, I'll go through this again. The thing I'm saying is, for the rest of the classes, you'll be showing the assignments in Eclipse IDE. So make sure your font size is visible for the, for the demo purposes, because I think the default size is somewhere between 8 or 10 and it's not legible, right? So by just increase the size once you download the Eclipse IDE. I'll show you how to do it. I'm sorry. Click on Window and then go to Appearance. I'm sorry. Click on Preferences, and then on Preferences you see this general thing. So first expand that thing, and then expand Appearance, and then click on Colors and Fonts. Once you click on Colors and Fonts, you'll see this entire thing. So you'll have something like this, or you'll have the default view will be something like this. So expand Java perspective, click on Java, and you see the Java editor text font. So this is nothing but your editor, nothing but your Word, next TextPad or Notepad, whatever it is. So we have to increase the size of this thing, right? That's why Java editor text font. Click on this thing, and then increase 16, wow, 14 already. Yeah, anyway, yeah, 16, 14 should be good. Anyway, that was how you increase the font size. So yeah, the first comment was, first shortcut was to comment, right? How to comment, Control and /, and to uncomment also, select the same thing and do Control /. Okay, and then one more important thing, guys, this is really important and it saves a lot of time. For example, you copy pasted code from somewhere and you just leave it like that, it will be obvious, because it just, once you copy paste, once you move code between files, it often messes up the, the indentation and all those things, right? Just to make sure that it looks good, what you do is you have two shortcuts for that. What you do is you select everything that you want to change. So in this case, I want to select everything, so Control A, and then click Control Shift F. Okay, Control + Shift + F. It will just make the formatting. There's a format shortcut. Okay, And if it's only about the indentation, that is the column wise, okay, and then I think you can probably do it with just Control I. Yeah, if it's just, wow, that's it, fine. So if you just want to align column wise, then the shortcut is Control plus I, indentation. That's how you remember it. And then if you just want to do it row wise, column wise, everything, if it's all messed up, then Control plus Shift plus F will give you formatting shortcut. Okay. What else? Yeah. One more thing. Yeah. This is also important. For sometimes you might want to search for something. But this is actually a shortcut, right? For searching, Control F, Control Find. That is fine. Control F will give you the same thing, find, replace thing. But what if you are looking for a file or a file with .xml extension or a file with .html? You're having a big project and all you want to do is you pull out all the HTML files. How would you do that? You have a shortcut, Control H. Yeah, you have Control H. So what you do is you basically write here whatever string that you want to search, and then you can, you can search for type or packages, or if you're specifically looking for a method, you can click on method or type, and where else you want to search, all the sources, the required project, and all those things, and scope. And which scope it should search, only for your workspace or in selected folders or what, and all those things. And if you want to do it in some other source, you can do. Basically what this Control H does is it finds, but a specific version of that finding shortcut. Finding shortcut is a generic, can just give you any term. Doesn't matter if it's an HTML word or all the keywords, it will just directly give you. But here, this is more programming aware find shortcut, if you can say that. Right? If you can make it search files that end with .html or .xml or HTML tags that has what / in it and something like that. So you can just basically write star. See, if you want to search all the HTML files, what you do is you include star and then you HTML. So what this means, any file, star is nothing but any file that has an extension .html, and then you basically search. So right now 0 matches because obviously there's no HTML files in the program, but if there were any, it would have probably listed all those HTML files with a specific path in there. So that is one shortcut you have to really remember, Control H. Okay, and apart from that, what else can we talk about in here? Control F, Control H. That's it. Yeah. So if I can remember, yeah, one more thing. If you haven't, if you didn't listen to all those shortcuts for the last 5 minutes, at least listen this one because it can save you someday. If you forget any shortcut or anything, just remember this one, Control Shift L. Yeah. This is basically a guide to all the shortcuts. So it's actually, yeah, it's actually smart to just remember this shortcut. But again, you have to basically go and look for the shortcut that you want. But then at least remember 20 shortcuts, and then this one, Control Shift L, which will basically give you the list of all the shortcuts. Again, it's really important. It's not just, I'm not wasting time by just talking about these things. This is actually really important. In situations where a shortcut would have been smarter, you actually have to use a shortcut there. To never do all this commenting part manually in front of anyone, who actually knows what you're doing. So don't do those kind of things. Use shortcuts for that, right? It actually saves your time and money. So yeah, that was, if I can probably remember any of the shortcuts, I'll let you know while we are, because anyhow we're going to use Eclipse for the rest of the class. As we keep on talking, I'll let you know. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll remember 2 more shortcuts. If the one is Control dot or something, let me just see this thing. I have an error here. Control dot, yeah. See, you have 2000 lines, and you see an error popped up somewhere in here in line number 22 while you compile it. So it's just line number 900 or something. So you have 2 options: either just scroll to line number 900 or just hit Control dot. right? So it just takes you to the error position. And if you have more than one error, then it goes in the sequence. For example, see, control dot system hello, just like this. It just keeps on going to that. And if you want some suggestions, also it gives you some suggestions. Control word, yeah.
Previously you said like if there is an error, if you press control dot, it automatically go to the error, or top of something.
Just go to the error. Control dot. Control plus the number 1. Okay, control plus 1 will give you suggestions. Go on to the error using control dot, and if you want some suggestions on that specific error, hit control plus 1. So once you hit control plus 1, it will give you this window. See, control dot highlights the error, control 1 gives you suggestions. See, create local variable system and all those kind of suggestions. That is how it works. And one more thing, isn't this just to print a statement? Isn't this really long system out print ln? So one efficient way of doing it in Eclipse IDE is, instead of typing the entire thing, you can just write this out in all small letters, and then hit control plus space, right? Control space will give you system out print ln. So that is how you can get these print ln statements directly, right? So yeah, if I can remember any more shortcuts, I'll let you know as we keep on going in the later classes. What's that? Control F5, yeah, but then I think clicking a button is actually easier than Control F5. I feel it because my function keys are not working properly. Anyway, if you want to run the program using a shortcut, then it's Control plus F5, the function keys, F5, Control plus F5, or just hit this button if your mouse is not working. So yeah, any questions about this Eclipse IDE? No, right? Just some stuff to remember. So please go and download the Eclipse IDE and do all those kind of experiments. So yeah, so I didn't talk about how to take input from user, right? So let's see how to take actually user from input. Same program, let's use the first program that we used in the last class to print hello world. Okay, so fine, if you're just hard coding it, you're just printing something. You don't want to say hello to the entire world. You don't want to do it. You just want to say hello to a specific person or to a person who's actually running the program. So you want your program to ask the user his name, and then once the user types in the name, the program wants to say hello to him, hello X, hello Y, or something like that. How would you do that? So in this scenario, you're basically taking input from the user, right? You're not hard coding it. There's two ways of input. One, you're hard coding it. One, you're taking it to runtime. What do you mean by hard coding things? Yeah, you yourself are giving input in the program. There is no other input that you cannot change the input during runtime. You say int X and you are initializing X equal to 5, then that means the value of X will be 5 forever as long as someone else changed the value. It's gonna stay 5 forever. But if you just let X equal X that way and provide user to provide the value of X during runtime, then that is nothing but giving input through runtime, right? So that is, let's see how we do that. So as of now, we don't want to print hello world. So let's first ask user what his name. Okay. As soon as the program runs, I want to print this statement. Enter your name. Okay. Now, how do I take the input? First thing, let me tell you what this is. Scanner is a class. How can I tell scanner is a class? Yeah, see, once it changes, because I've not imported. The thing is, how you can tell a class, something is a class is, first, yeah, by the naming convention, you can just say what scanner and what all those keywords are. If it's a predefined class, or you also use sometimes predefine variables. Okay, there's actually a way to identify predefined variables also. Anyways, so you use scanner class. I'll tell you, it doesn't make sense. It will not make sense. So don't worry if it eludes you or something. Don't worry about that. But yeah, as of now, scanner, and then write some variable input. Scanner input equal to new scanner system.in. So yeah, again, why is the error popping up? Let's just click on this and then it says import scanner, right? Exactly. So you can do this thing or you have a shortcut for importing because you always keep importing things. There's no way you cannot import something and write on the next time that program. You have to keep importing things. Why are we importing things? What are these things? What is scanner? What is this com, sun, java.internal.runtime? What are these things? This is the library, but what is this? Why are we doing this? The thing is, exactly, the thing is, this inside the scanner, yeah, this is a class inside which every the code you require to take a variable or to set this input variable, all those things is predefined for you. The Java developers did it, and Java was shipped to us in that way. So all you have to do is just import this class scanner into our program, and then use it in our program. That's it. Scanner is a predefined class. It has certain methods associated with that class. So all you have to do is use those methods. So now let's import and set Control Shift O, or let's just click on this and then there you see testing Java util scanner. Right. So okay. Now what do we mean? This is our variable. So now let's take the name in something. So I'll tell you what string is, but for now, let's write a variable string name. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll say name equal to input dot next line. Right. Okay. What we did is, again, don't get confused by what this dot means and what I'm trying to do. Again, this is what object is. You're basically using an object of a class to do this. But all I want to explain, all you have to understand at this point is how to take input from the user. Even if it doesn't make sense, by heart it, learn it, doesn't matter, because eventually you'll learn what this is and what we actually did. Don't worry about that. I'll make sure you understand what those things are. And not just these things, and also what public, static, void, main, and all those silly things. You'll understand how those things work. But first, you have to understand what class and object are. So those are the main things you have to understand, and then everything is just a cakewalk. So yeah. So what you're trying to do is, once you're printing system out, println, enter your name, right? So what happens is, what we actually did. Right? So what we're trying to do here is, yeah, I'll tell you. See, the control, once I compile the program and then when I'm trying to run, this is the main function. So your JVM or whatever it is, the runtime system enters into the main method. What is the first thing? String name. Okay, so there is a string variable name. So that means name will hold a string of characters. So that it understood. Okay, name will hold some characters in future. That's fine. Now the second thing, it is a scanner input 8 and Java 9 is yet to release. So anyway, initially there was less than 500 classes or something, 300 or something, I'm not sure. But until Java 8, there are 4,000, 3 to 4,000, somewhere in between 3 to 4,000 predefined classes. So all those classes were actually written by the Java developers themselves, right? So by each version, they extend the functionality of Java. Again, it's an important question to know what are the differences between different versions, Java 5, especially JDK 5, 6, 7, and 8. You have to know what are the differences between those four. Right? What was there in 5, what was there in 6, which is not in 5, what's there in 7, which is not in 6, and something like that. So you really have to know those differences. Again, I'll tell you later on. But yeah, so input is a variable that you use to access the predefined method in this class scanner, right? So again, the third line, it prints enter your name. So the first line is being printed, and it sees, and the 13th line, name is equal to input dot next line. So what happens here is when the JV or the runtime printed enter your name, then once I typed APEX, and when I hit enter, so what this line number 13 is saying is, whenever a user is writing something on the console and hitting enter, get that stuff and put that into name, is what line number 13 is saying to the runtime system. Do you understand that? Okay, after printing enter your name, input.next line is telling once the user wrote something, and as soon as I press enter, right, because I have typed Apex and hit enter, line number 13 is saying to the runtime system that go user hit enter. That means he actually have written something on later on. What it basically tells is, if, for example, see, you keep improvising, keep patching up the existing code, right? Okay, there's already a developed code. All you have to do is debug something or provide a patch of something. So there are like what, 5,000, 10,000 lines of program, and more than a dozen programmers are working on the same thing. So there should be a way of keeping track of who did what, like what changes and what those things. So that is one use of this Java document commenting, because it just lets you know who was the author of the code or something. And then apart from that, what you include is documentation about something. For example, you're using a specific class, for example, scanner, which is scanner is a common class. Most of them know. Most of them will actually know what scanner is. But as I've told you, there are 4,000 classes, and there's no way anyone can know all the 4,000 classes. That's just, even if you know, that's just waste of memory in his brain. It's just pointless, because you have all the documented class online available online. So there's no real use of remembering all the 4,000 classes, right? Like you can always refer those things. So again, scanner is common, is usually frequently used, so don't bother about it. But there can be classes which are rarely used. So if you have used one such class, it's a good idea to include documentation of this thing, documentation comment of this kind, and then write string class something, and it does something or whatever it is. Just copy paste from the Oracle documentation website, put it in this thing. So just, if someone else is reading your code, and if it doesn't know what this thing is, so he'll basically have an idea. Just a quick review instead of going back and Googling it. You get an idea, right, of Java doc. Again, it's a really important comment. Control, no, Shift, Alt, and what, J? Yeah, Shift, Alt, J. Yeah, you having a question? Okay, you want me to go through an integer or something? Okay. Okay, let's start. So the way I understand your question is, we have tried inputting a string and printing it out. Let's try doing it through an integer, is what you're saying, right? Okay, let's do that. Same thing, just have word integer age, fine, and then instead of asking the name, let's just say enter your age. Okay, so now age equal to input dot next line. It's not a line, so specifically mention it that it's an integer. So you're basically telling whatever integer the user is writing on the console, get that integer, next integer, get that integer using this input variable and put it in age. So right, so that you can just print out the age, right? Exactly. Because see, that is how the control flows. Always remember, try and trace your program if it's confusing. See, or unless there is any loops or conditional statements involved, it's always sequential flow. There's no doubt in that, right? Because there are no loops and conditions, so it's just sequential flow. So again, JVM or runtime system always enter through main thing. So it directly comes in the first thing that executes string name, it's not relevant, and then it assigns the variable integer in memory that gives it 4 bytes of memory. Is it 4 bytes or 2 bytes in Java, an integer? No, it's not 4, right? Okay, so whatever it is, might be 4. Again, it goes as soon as it executes line number 12, it assigns 4 bytes of memory, reserve, and says in this program and assign this input variable. And then line number 14. Why do we require this input? Why do we require the scanner? Because when I'm saying that, see, why do we require line number 13? When I'm saying that in the line number 15, this line number 15 is telling JVM that whatever is written on the console, go get it. So I'm just telling it easily, okay, go on console and get it back. It requires a lot of system calls and all those kind of things. So that backend, coding part is done in this scanner class, right? So after this scanner, once it's initialized, it prints this thing, enter your age, and then once it prints this thing, I'll show you. Right, on the execution, until which point the execution is done, line number 14. So now line number 15 is waiting for what? It's waiting for me to enter an integer here and hit enter, right? For example, I'll just enter what, 55 or something, okay? And then once I haven't hit enter yet, once I hit enter, you're telling that using the input variable, get the next integer present on the console, put it in the integer variable age. And once you've got the age, you're assigning some value. But if you say initialization, that means you give some default value here, something like 0. Later on, it can be changed. So just in case I forgot to give the input, then by default the value will be 0 or 18 or something. So this is called as initializing. You're initializing the variable to some value. Yeah, it might have been because you might have declared a variable and then used it in for loop without initializing or something. Yeah, then again, if you're trying to print, say if you're trying to print age, then the value of age should be something, right? If it's not, I think it just prints 0 or something. I want to use it like the input. Then can you send the program to me? I can just look into that and email you back, if that's okay. So any questions about this, the scanner thing? So it is like the way of use. So it's like input of and this thing, if it's name, let's try and do that. I think anyways. See, the problem with this thing is you don't have matching things. Here you're saying that name is string and then you're expecting an integer, right? So for each prototype you have different functions. You have next end, you have next double, next float, next line, next, so different variants. You can try all the possible combinations and all those things. Was that your question? Cool. Yeah.
If we want to input the age as well, like integer as well, the string also, and can you do on the one slide?
String can also take numbers. Yeah, it can. String can also take number if that is your question.
Okay, so if I want to have the name and age, then I have to declare a string for.
No, I didn't. What? If you want, can you say that question?
I want to get the age as well as the name from the user. So at once I import the scanner, then I can do it both the way.
No, this thing will take only one value. So after age, you again have to write a print statement, and then again write a next scan statement. Or if you don't want to print, if you just want the user to understand, you can just include one more thing. You can just write name equal to input dot next line. So after printing age, it again waits for another keyword, and then one.
If I am importing the scanner, then I can have any number of inputs from the user.
Exactly. Very good question. Actually, a lot of beginners, actually, a lot of them gets confused. Very good question. The thing is, I really appreciate that. The thing is, I've actually seen a lot of people using scanner multiple times in the initial assignments. The thing is, even if you're asking user for like what 100 times for the input, you can use scanner only once. It's fine. Once you use scanner, you can ask user for input like 100, 200 or whatever, n number of times. You don't have to keep initializing scanner again. The point is, again, the same thing. Why are we using scanner is the link that we have to create between the program to console, right? Because your program is telling runtime system to go and wait at the console, and once the user enters something, get that value and put it something. So that link between the runtime and the console is actually handled by input. It actually has much more sense, but for this class, it's fine. This kind of abstraction is fine. I'll let you know what exactly it does. It's actually way more interesting what scanner does and all those kind of things. And even system out println, it's not just random things. It's actually really interesting how system out println works. There are actually two different classes connected. System out println, it actually is a combination of two different classes. But again, I'll come to that point. But as of now, all you have to understand is, even if your program requires 10 or 20 variables from the user, just declare scanner input at the top in the main or wherever it is once, and then you can use this input variable any number of times. Is that clear? Right? Good question again. Any more questions regarding this? Do you want me to start? Yeah.
Yeah, Amir, I have one doubt. Like here we are taking the integer input, right? When I try to take again the string input, we are going like it's not taking the input. Actually, I did some research on that, but what I got to know is like before before this line, like name is equal to input dot next line, we need to give one more.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but then are you talking about the next line? It skips the next input, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens because it's about the placement of the cursor. What happens is once you use next line, the cursor is at the next line. So again, that's just how you place those things. Yeah, you can go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. I mean, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah. See here we write like system.out.println enter your age, right? Then we are giving the age value in the next line. Age is equal to input dot next int. Again, when we in the next line like system.out.println enter your name. When we type that one, we are going to give the input as a name, right? A value for the name.
Yeah.
For name is a string. As name is a string we declare, so we are going to give like name is equal to input dot next line. When I wrote those two lines to get input for the name, it's not taking the input.
Yeah, that's because there's a difference. See, the thing is you have to actually know how these methods work, and because the thing is I actually have an assignment regarding this thing, and most of you will get that error. Most of you will get that error. What happens is you'll have multiple scanner statements. Okay, you'll have input.nextEnd, input.next float, input.next null, and then once you have input.next line somewhere in between, and then you have some other next method. When you try to run the program, it skips a line and then prints the other line. So I don't want to give that away. Try that and see what's happening. The thing is, I'll just give you a hint. What happens is the way it places the cursor. Okay. Again, anyways, you can just try that thing in the assignments and you'll know what's happening wrong. Okay. Again, Stack Overflow is again a good source, good resource to clarify your questions or errors about that. Just copy paste your error, paste in Stack Overflow. You'll definitely have one guy explaining a lot about what's going on and all those. It's actually good. Yeah, it's already 8:30. Do you want me to start? Oops, I wish we would do this in the next week, right? Next week probably. And yeah. So any other questions that you want to ask about this thing? What's that? Oops, yeah, but there is not a lot in oops, but it's just topics. Yeah, you can know. the same thing. So what's the class object and all the rest of the hooks? Again, there are a lot of figures in that. I'll probably, I think there's a slide here. Yeah, this is what OOPS is. The class object, and these are the four OOPS concepts: abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Really interesting, guys. Really interesting. I'm actually excited for this OOPS in every batch. And to be honest, in the rest of it's all passive. You know, the same things: database, file, string. Strings is another interesting topic. But then, yeah, to me, OOPS is really interesting. But yeah, try and finish the first assignment so that you can really understand what's happening, because this actually has programs a little trickier than the earlier classes. So make sure you understand first earlier classes. And again, if you don't understand, if you didn't understand the last class and this class, you can email me. We can have a makeup session of some kind, right? Or it's fine. Anyways, but I don't think there's an assignment for this class because we haven't talked anything. Yeah. Yeah, I'll set the calculator program, right? And then some other 2 or 3 programs about what taking input and all. Yeah, sure. And see, it's not a benchmark kind of assignment, so don't keep waiting for the assignment. Like when am I getting the assignment, and don't just keep waiting for that. Those are just randomly placed questions, but it covers most of the topics. So the thing is, if for some reason if you don't get the email, don't waste your time, or don't wait for that. If you have time, just start googling examples of that particular thing, and I make your own answers and bring it. It's not like you have to only solve those questions which have time. You can do your own assignments and get it back. But please, for the next class, turn up your assignments, at least 2 or 3 programs, and I'm not asking you to do it from the scratch. There's no point. Try it. If you cannot do it, you can always copy paste those programs. And can you please put your email IDs in the chat box? Guys, can I have your attention for like 1 minute? Guys, can I have your attention for a minute? Can you please put your email IDs? Input is never closed. Yeah, that's fine. That the warning is that thing. Input is never closed. The thing is, sometimes you do this thing, input dot close. I mean, yeah, that's a good habit to do, but then for several programs, that's fine. You don't really close input because in the larger program, you might somewhere else use input. So again, you have to declare another scanner variable. So it's just a weird habit of keeping it open. Can you please have my last class? Yeah. Can you guys please put in your email IDs in the chat box? And what about the next class? It's on Monday 6:30 or Saturday? Monday. Sure. Monday, sure. Monday 6:30 to 8:30, and we'll start OOPS concepts. So please, Monday, right? What's the date? Do you guys go to school, or you all graduated? You all graduated.
I'm going to school still. I'll be graduating by 8.
Oh, okay, that's nice. What's that? Yeah. I'm fine with 3 days a week. Actually, I have my exams starting from the end of March. So that was just planning to have 3 days in a week and then take it slow. But some of you guys are not ready, right? You guys have classes or something. 3 hours a day?
Oh, only.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Priya. This is Priya. I have college on April 1st and 2nd alone. Other than that, I'm fine with the weekends.
Oh, okay.
Only on April 1st and 2nd. After that, it should be fine.
Okay, how about Wednesday? Wednesday of next week. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the next week. Monday, Thursday, and
Wednesday I have a class evening.
6:30 to 9:30 probably. I don't know. Because let me ask Professor about that.
Wednesday I have a class.
Oh yeah, let's do one thing. Let's have 2 classes for 3 hours. 6:30 to 9:30. Wow, you guys are really interested. 6:30 to 9:30, right? Okay, fine. So you guys put your email IDs in this, right? Okay, that's fine. So yeah, you're probably getting an email tomorrow morning. Fine. Any questions? No?
I have to call the map of some company, right? How can we know that we have to call the map?
Math is actually a class.
I don't know, like I have to call it map. I have to call something.
What?
I think the more I have to call some map or then I don't know. How can we know that we have to call those things?
See, just a simple idea for operations like square, exponential, power, 2 power 10 and 2 power 12, all those kind of basic operations is actually predefined. So you can just make a guess, right? For example, square root is, no, there are libraries for everything, libraries for everything.